Good. That's the oh God, I stayed out late voice. Hey, good morning. Um, where is Matt from Fluent? I just saw him. Matt? He's out in the hallway. I just wanted to tell him thanks for having a party last night. He's out there. How can you thank a guy and then, he doesn't hear the thank you? That's stupid. All right, I'm going to thank him later. I just saw him. He's like out there talking to someone. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for coming back, day 2. We're excited to have you. We've got a lot of fun things planned for you today, but we're going to kick it off this morning with Mike Shitakio from Pinterest. Pinterest has been doing a few things with this over the last year and a half or so, and we're excited to have Mike here today. Mike's the industry lead for entertainment and restaurant verticals over at Pinterest, and he's going to, well, I don't know what you're going to talk about actually, because I don't see the title. So why don't we let's just get this guy on stage. Mike, big round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good? All right. I can't really see anyone. I'm trying to look at people's eyes to be like, oh yeah, you were definitely overserved. You drank too much. You made bad decisions. But I feel like we're all here. Everyone looks fresh-faced, so I appreciate you spending the time. I appreciate MediaPost giving us the opportunity to speak. As I thought about what we would talk about this morning, I was like, what could Pinterest bring to the table to this summit that would add value, right? To bring perspective to the things that you do every single day in your life and at work. And so I also want to keep in mind that it was early in the morning, right? We're the first ones up. And so I want to make the topic of discussion be somewhat light. So with that said, I want to talk to you today about life, right? Life. If you were to close your eyes, which I'm not asking you to do, but if you were to close your eyes and think about your life, you'd probably look back and have this vision of all these different moments that have happened and these experiences that have happened for you, right? So they could be big moments like a Christmas event, or it could be when you went off to school, went off to college, or maybe they're more personal moments. Maybe they're moments where you moved into your first grown-up apartment, or you and your partner decided to have to start a family. But at the end of the day, whatever the moments are for us, those experiences are for us, I think we can all agree on one thing, is that all of these moments, life is basically the sum total of all the moments that matter to us, right? It's the experiences that we've had, it's the experiences that we plan to have that makes life, right? A super, serious question about pondering life's moments. But I'd argue today, life is starting to look a lot more like this, right? Our life is being sucked into things that don't align with what truly makes us happy or fulfilled, right? Tech, I work in an industry that exacerbates this. Now, for the record, I'd say that Pinterest doesn't help solve, it doesn't contribute to this, but maybe other ones do, I don't know. But if you think about it, when you go back to work on Thursday and you go into the elevator, look around you. I know I do every single morning. As soon as those elevators doors close and the people that are around me in the elevator, the first thing they do is they do this, right? They pull out their phone and they start doing this. And everyone's looking down. It doesn't have to be an elevator. It can be anywhere, right? You constantly see this, right? It's actually interesting, to think about the psychological aspect of doing this all day. That's how we fill empty space in our time. But I don't know if anyone saw the BBC report that came out last year. There was a doctor in Australia, and he did a study, and he published it in the Journal of Medicine. And what he found was that people, because we crank our necks all day long looking at our phone, we're starting to grow a horn or a tail, like a bone at the base of our skull. So if you're like me, the first thing I did was like, oh my God, am I growing something? I'm like, oh, I feel something. And I'm like, and it itches. I'm like, oh no, it's just a bug bite, I'm good. But it's like, you think about that, right? That's pretty crazy. And the fun fact is that that horn, that tail, is actually more commonly found in men, right? And the longest one he measured was 1.4 inches long, which is just like, again, let that sink in for a moment. Like, I don't know, good times. Like, sweet dreams, people. But there's hope, right? How many people, by show of hands, have heard of the experience economy? No one's heard of the experience economy? A couple people, okay. It's not a new concept. It was first published in 1998. And the notion is that people, they like to spend their time and money on experiences versus material things. And it's, again, not a new concept. It's gone in waves over time. And right now, I think last year was another wave in that moment where we probably heard that millennials value experiences over buying things over products, right? And that makes sense. We think about life again, life, right? We think life is made up of the moments, of the experiences that we've had, right? And I think moments, the idea of moments, isn't anything new to the brands in this room. A lot of the brands I heard yesterday lean into moments. Salt and Straw, as an example, right? Leaning into Thanksgiving, coming out with an entire line of Thanksgiving flavored ice cream. So, and the salt and straw, by the way, fun fact, that story really resonated with me from a customer relationship standpoint. I used to work at a Baskin-Robbins in high school, so I was a scooper. And I remember the idea of giving samples was so awesome, but like the one thing I would say, salt and straw, is like, you know, how you say, hey, what would you like to try today? What would you like to sample today? I actually did the like, hey, what would we like to try today? And they're like, huh? Like, all right, I guess we'd like to try some gold medal ribbon. I'm like, yes, let's try that. So every time I'm like, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me. And then they'd be like, oh my God, Mike, this gold medal ribbon, it tastes so good. I'm like, I know, right? It tastes so good. So between that little moment, like I made a best friend inside Baskin-Robbins. But again, those are moments that I think back in my life that are important to me, right? But salt and straw is just one example. Think about Capriati's and dealing with the NHL Stanley Cup, or Poncheros, 12 days of Poncheros, 12 days of Christmas, right? Moments, experiences, these aren't new concepts. But everyone knows what this image is, right? The selfie, right? The selfie has become the currency for what a moment is on social media, right? So as a society, we tend to think as a moment being fulfilled when it's accomplished or when it happens at that moment in time. And brands celebrate moments in social media the same way, right? You celebrate it at the time you show up when the party's happening and say, hey, we're here, or when it's already happened, right? And I actually think, and at Pinterest we think, I should say, that moments are so much more than just a snapshot in time. So for example, if I use Christmas, we see Christmas searches on Pinterest happen as early as September, right? Let me put that into context for you. If you think about moments as a linear journey, right? And over here, on the far end, if you think about, again, communication and social media, part of that journey is, hey, I'm throwing the most amazing Christmas party right now, like pop, selfie. And then over here, there's a section of communication where it's like, hey, I just threw the most amazing Christmas party, right? Post picture. But there's this whole white space over here, which is, hey, I'm planning to throw the most amazing Christmas party, right? And that's that white space that's been untapped, and that's where we've been helping brands really tap into. And so, you know, those moments, they're actually filled with a lot smaller moments too. So we look at Christmas, tree trimming, office holiday parties, ugly sweaters. I apologize, those sweaters aren't ugly enough, in my opinion. But there's dozens and dozens of Christmas moments, of micro moments, if you will, that are part of that planning process. And that behavior, that mindset, you know, it's not just Christmas, it's throughout the year for every single moment. There are dozens and dozens and thousands of opportunities there. And that idea of longing for inspiration is something that, again, is unique to our platform. And that makes sense. Our mission, to bring everyone the inspiration to create a life they love, right? That is uniquely Pinterest. So what are the moments that matter? There's thousands of moments, like I said. We look at it through the lens of three specifically, right? Holidays, cultural, and even the most personal moments. Holiday moments. Halloween, great example. We get over 45 million people starting to search for Halloween on the platform as early as June, right? Mother's Day. Valentine's Day is another great example. Valentine's Day, that planning starts in January. But even going into the cultural moments like prom, back to school. Anyone want to take a guess when back to school planning starts? When people start thinking about back to school? May. Like, that's messed up. People start thinking about back to school while their kids are already in school the previous year. Super Bowl parties, football in general. We see over 35 million searches and queries around Super Bowl and football. And the one common denominator is, or there's two, I should say, it's the party and the food they're going to eat. And then, of course, the personal, the date nights, the anniversaries, the birthdays, the evergreen, everyday moment that everyone thinks about. Over 51 million people search for birthday inspiration on the platform every day. So at the end of the day, again, I don't think a concept of moments and leading to moments isn't new to anyone in this room. But for the sake that I'm thinking about it in terms of planning, you know, why is this important? Why should you care? Well, this is the reason why I think you should care. At the end of the day, we've seen that 3 in 4 Pinners consider food the most important part of any occasion, right? It's the epicenter of any experience for consumers. And I think we'd agree with that statement, and our own first-party data actually shows this as well. We see on any given month 70 million people searching for meal inspiration, food and beverage, right? At any given month. And you know, what's interesting, when we think about the mindset in terms of how they're searching, we look at the queries actually. And what if I told you that 72% of those queries don't include the word recipe in it? The words that tend to pop up are ideas, right? Cheap, value, budget, quick, easy. Again, they just want to be fed, which is no wonder why when we look at other research outside of Pinterest, that 4 in 5 Pinners have gone to a QSR or a fast casual or even order takeout or delivery from in the last 30 days, right? A huge opportunity here. And when we actually activate this for brands, Sonic couldn't be here today, so I will represent Sonic. This isn't intended to be a creative case study, but more about leaning into moments, right? Sonic came to us and said, listen, when we're launching new products and LTOs over the summer, and when people think summer, we want them to think Sonic. Right? And so what we did is we leaned into every summer moment, everyday moment that we had on the platform that was most important, including obviously summer meals and summer drinks, but summer trips, summer parties, summer ideas. Right? I can't share the results publicly, but I can tell you from all the digital proxies that we care about in this room, we hit and exceeded all of our benchmarks, but more importantly, when we looked at foot traffic, we actually measured our ability to drive in-store foot traffic. We showed double-digit percentage lift in our ability to drive people in-store to get the new drinks, the new shakes, and the new mocktails. So, I want to make this quick. If I leave you with anything today, it's 2 things. 1, to ask yourself, what are the moments that your customers care about, right? And then how are you helping inspire that moment? So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mike, thank you very much. That was great. Any questions for Mike before we let him off the hook? And Mike, you have a team here as well, right?
Based in our Chicago office.
All right. Any questions for these guys? I mean, if not, we've got certainly the rest of the day today and tonight. Are you guys in tonight?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, well, good. Well, if you have questions for these guys, grab them tonight. And thanks again, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. Big round of applause for Mike.